We were talking about months before, right? We talked about January, we talked about February, and now it is March 1st. So I think it's fitting that we talk about March and what happens in March and what goes on in March. Why is it even called March in the first place? Like what's that about? Let's get into it. So, March is the month named after Mars. Mars was a Roman god, little g. Mars was the god of war. And they named this month March because Romans liked war. And this was the earliest time in the year that they could go to war. So, this period in time they named after Mars, who is their god for war. So, it's only fitting that we have a month named after him because this is when we go to war, anyways. So, originally, Julius Caesar he created a calendar, right? And this was the first month of the year for them because they like to fight. It is what it is, right? Yeah, let's make this the first month because we're going to go out and fight in this month. Then you had an emperor. His name was Numa Pompilius. He was a Roman emperor, and he changed the calendar. But not only was he a Roman emperor, he was also a high priest of Rome too. So he made himself emperor and high priest. All the religious stuff that came with that. What he did was he took January and February and put those first and second, and then made March third. And then everything else came after that, and that's how we get the current Gregorian calendar that we use now. Like I said, he was the high priest, so he did that for a reason. January he made first because that was for the god Janus, who is the god of doorways, forward and backwards, and he's the thing that all the other gods have to go through anyways. He's like the you can't get to anything else until you go through this god, so to speak, or you can't get to the that almighty one, the god of gods, until you get to that god, go through that god. Sounds familiar, right? It sounds like Yahusha in a way. We go through him to get to the Father. But this is what he did. And then he made February. This is the month of purification and ritual. So, because we like to fight, we got to get ourselves ready to fight. And that's what February is for. So now we're in war. We are marching out to war, so to speak. And there's a correlation there. But this was Numa Pompilius who did this, and this is why we currently have March. So let's talk about war. And in March, with us, what we do is we have college basketball, and what is that called? March Madness, right? But that has a meaning too. Like all of these things that we say and that are just done in our society, they all have a meaning, and they actually mean something. And it's not just, oh, that's something old that was made up. No, this is an actual real thing, and they do affect us to this day. March Madness, or Mars's Madness. So I Googled that, just to see what Google would tell me. Mars Madness is actually a reference to a plant. It's a hibiscus plant, right? And this plant, it grows very fast, and it spreads. It's very invasive, just like the Romans would do, where they would conquer and they took over so many countries, territories, and nations. They spread, and they did this very quickly. Mars Madness for this plant. And like I said, it's also for the college basketball tournament. Same kind of concept where you have this fast-paced war between these nations and these teams to see who's going to be the ultimate champion. But Mars Madness also means something else. Mars Madness is a term for berserker. So Mars is madness. Mars, the god of war, he would give you a madness, a craziness, this berserker rage to fight. And when you enter this hypnotic trance-like fury state, you would just be uncontrollable, and you would be impervious to pain, and then you would be hard to kill. People said it was almost impossible to kill you or wound you because you just fought with this madness and this unpredictability that made you so dangerous. And that's, think of Wolverine, Marvel Comics, Berserker, Mars Madness. Yeah, that. That's the meaning behind it, whether we realize it or not. But here's the thing. So they have a god of war. We do too. Satan, the enemy, the devil, whatever you want to call him, the dragon, he imitates the Most High. He does. And the Most High is the originator of all these things. But the Most High is actually the God of war. How do you know that? Why would you? You can't say that. Yes, I can. If you go to Amos chapter 5 and 14, matter of fact, read the whole book of Amos, but Amos chapter 5 and 14, it says, seek good, not evil, so that you may live. And Yahuwah, the Elohim of hosts, will be with you as you have claimed. Elohim of hosts, or Yahuwah of hosts. Yahuwah is the word that they replace with Lord. Elohim is our English word God. Host, in Hebrew, that word is Saba. What Saba means is it's you're going forth towards something, but it's also for armies, it's also for war, for warfare, and it represents you being the leader over a certain thing. Like it could be the sun, moon, and stars, angels, or all of creation. So when we say Yahuwah Saba oath, man, so Saba is the word. Saba oath makes it plural. So armies. You're saying that Yahuwah is the God of war, which he is. When the Israelites went out to war, who did they go with? Who fought their battles? Right. The enemy is in war right now. He's warring against you. Anyone that follows the Most High, anyone that is a follower of the way, me, he's warring against us. And this is the month where he's doing it. He took January and February to prepare for these things, and now he's trying to war with us. So now all that spiritual warfare is going to amp up in this month, whether it's against you, whether it's against your city, your town, the nation, whatever it is, your family, your children. It's all amping up now in this month. This is the start of it. And then the goal is April is coming, right? What is April? April is actually the new year. The goal is to destroy you before you get to that new year. There it is.